Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome. Take a deep breath with me right now. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Just let yourself arrive here in this moment, wherever you are. If you're drawn to this message today, there's a reason. Not because the universe has predetermined your path, but because something within you is seeking understanding, seeking balance, seeking a gentle mirror for what you're experiencing right now. I'm here to offer reflective guidance for Sagittarius energy, whether that's your sun, moon, rising, or simply an energy you're working with in this chapter of your life. This isn't about predicting your future or telling you what will definitely happen. Instead, this is about creating space to explore what you might be feeling, what patterns might be emerging, and how you can meet yourself with more compassion and awareness right now. Today, we're focusing on emotional balance, that sometimes elusive, always worthwhile dance between your inner fire and your need for peace, between your expansive nature and your human need to simply be. So settle in. Give yourself permission to receive what resonates and to release what doesn't. Your inner wisdom knows what you need. Let's begin by honoring who you are at your core. Sagittarius energy carries the flame of the eternal seeker. You're drawn to truth, to meaning, to understanding the bigger picture. Your spirit naturally reaches toward horizons, physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual. There's something in you that refuses to be confined by what's small or limiting. You need room to breathe, space to explore, freedom to become. And this is beautiful. This is your gift. But here's what we sometimes forget. That same expansive energy that makes you feel most alive can also leave you feeling scattered, overwhelmed, or disconnected from your emotional center. When you're constantly reaching outward toward the next adventure, the next truth, the next experience, it can become challenging to stay grounded in the present moment, in your body, in your feelings. You might notice this showing up as a restlessness that won't settle, even when you're exhausted, a feeling that something's always missing, even when life is objectively good, difficulty sitting with uncomfortable emotions because your instinct is to philosophize them away, to find a lesson so quickly that you skip over the feeling itself. Or perhaps you've been feeling more reactive than usual, your emotions seeming larger or more intense than the situations that triggered them. If any of this resonates, please know you're not broken. You're not doing anything wrong. You're simply experiencing what happens when a fire sign, brilliant, passionate, forward-moving, encounters a very human need for emotional equilibrium. You might be feeling a particular kind of exhaustion right now, not physical tiredness, but the weariness that comes from always trying to see the bright side, always searching for the silver lining, always being the one who lifts others up. Your natural optimism is one of your superpowers, but if you've been using it as a shield to avoid feeling pain or disappointment, it may be catching up with you. There's a difference between genuine hope and bypassing your authentic feelings. If you've been telling yourself, everything happens for a reason, or I just need to stay positive, while ignoring a deep sadness, frustration, or anger beneath the surface, your emotional body might be asking for something different now. It might be asking to be seen, not solved. You value your independence deeply, the ability to move, to choose, to change direction. This feels essential to your well-being. But lately, you might be questioning whether some of your need for freedom has actually been a sophisticated form of running away. Maybe you've noticed yourself wanting to escape when emotions get deep, when a conversation becomes too vulnerable, when a relationship requires sustained emotional presence, when your own inner world feels too heavy. There's that familiar itch to go somewhere, do something, start something new. This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. Sometimes the most adventurous thing you can do is stay, to sit in the discomfort, to let yourself be fully present with what's tender and raw. Your feelings might seem to swing more dramatically than usual right now. One moment you're inspired and energized, seeing possibility everywhere. The next, you're questioning everything, feeling deflated or cynical. This isn't instability. This is what happens when you're being called to integrate different parts of yourself. You're learning that you can hold both hope and grief. You can be excited about growth while also acknowledging what that growth has cost you. You can love your freedom and also admit that sometimes you're lonely. These aren't contradictions. They're the full spectrum of being human. Because you move quickly through experiences, relationships, ideas, places, You might be realizing that you've accumulated unprocessed emotional material. Things you moved on from before you fully felt them. Endings you philosophize away before you grieve them. Hurts you turn into lessons so fast that you never let yourself just be hurt. If you're feeling heavier lately, if old feelings are resurfacing, if you're suddenly crying about something from months or years ago, this isn't regression. This is integration. Your emotional body is wise. It keeps what needs to be felt until you're ready to feel it. So what do we do with all of this? How do you find emotional balance without dimming your fire, without clipping your wings, without becoming someone you're not? Here's a gentle truth. Stillness doesn't mean stagnation. Being present doesn't mean being stuck. You might resist slowing down because you associate it with losing momentum, with giving up, with settling for less. But what if stillness is actually a foundation that makes sustainable expansion possible? What if being present with yourself emotionally is what allows you to move through the world with more clarity and purpose? Try this, not as a rigid practice, but as an experiment. Once a day, even for just 5 minutes, sit with yourself without agenda, not to meditate correctly, not to achieve enlightenment, not to fix anything, just to be with whatever's there. Let your thoughts come. Let your feelings surface. Don't journal them away. Don't analyze them into submission. Don't immediately look for the lesson. Just let yourself be a human having an experience. You might be surprised by what emerges when you stop running. Your mind moves quickly. You can grasp concepts in a flash, connect dots others don't see, leap to insights that take others weeks to arrive at. This is wonderful. But your emotional body moves at its own pace, and it can't be rushed. Healing isn't linear. Integration isn't instant. You can understand why something happened and still feel hurt by it. You can forgive someone and still need time to rebuild trust. You can see the growth that came from a difficult experience and still grieve what you lost. Give yourself permission to be in process, to not have it all figured out, to still be working through something even though you feel like you should be over by now. Your emotions aren't problems to solve. They're information to receive, experiences to move through, parts of yourself requesting compassion. You're naturally inclined toward inspiration, toward uplift, toward the positive. And there's nothing wrong with this. But balance requires that we also make room for what's difficult, messy, or unresolved. What would it feel like to tell someone, I'm actually struggling right now, without immediately following it with, but I'll be fine, or but I'm learning so much? What would it be like to admit you're scared or disappointed or angry without rushing to transcend those feelings? Your darkness doesn't diminish your light. Your struggles don't invalidate your strength. You can be both wisdom-seeking and confused, both adventurous and afraid, both generous and in need. The people who truly love you want to know the real you, not just the inspiring version. And more importantly, you deserve to know and accept all of yourself. Before you leap to the next thing, the next plan, the next philosophy, the next adventure, ask yourself, am I running towards something or away from something? Both are valid, but they require different responses. If you're running toward a genuine call of your spirit, that's beautiful, honor it. But if you're running away from discomfort, pain, or feelings that need your attention, pausing might be the braver choice. Rootedness doesn't mean never moving. It means knowing yourself deeply enough that when you do move, you're doing it from a place of clarity rather than escape. It means having an inner anchor that goes with you wherever you go. This might look like finishing difficult conversations instead of leaving them unresolved, staying in your body when emotions feel intense instead of intellectualizing immediately, or sitting with a question before jumping to an answer. You might believe that freedom means keeping all your options open, never committing too deeply, maintaining the ability to leave. But what if true freedom is found in the courage to choose, to commit, to allow yourself to be changed by people and experiences? What if emotional balance isn't about staying neutral or detached, but about having the inner resilience to feel deeply without being destroyed by those feelings? To love fully while still maintaining your sense of self? To be vulnerable without losing your strength? Consider that the cage you fear might not be commitment or emotional depth. It might be the constant pressure to keep moving, to always be seeking, to never admit you've arrived somewhere that matters. Your fire, your passion, your enthusiasm, your drive is not the enemy of emotional balance. The goal isn't to extinguish it. The goal is to tend it wisely, channeling intensity into presence. When you feel that familiar restlessness rising, that need to do something, pause and ask, what am I actually seeking right now? Sometimes you're seeking genuine growth or adventure. Other times, you're seeking relief from discomfort. If it's the latter, what if you channeled that intensity not into external action, but into internal exploration? What if you brought that same passionate energy you'd give to planning a trip or learning a new philosophy to simply being with yourself? You could journal with the same fervor you'd research a new interest. You could explore your emotional landscape with the same curiosity you'd explore a new city. You could investigate your patterns with the same enthusiasm you'd investigate a compelling idea. Creating containers for your expansion. Think of your emotional life like a bonfire. Without a fire pit, the flames spread everywhere, beautiful but potentially destructive. With a thoughtful container, the fire burns bright and warm, serving its purpose without consuming everything around it. Your containers might be regular check-ins with yourself or trusted friend therapy or counseling where you can explore your depths creative practices that give your emotions a place to move through you, physical practices that help you stay connected to your body relationships where emotional honesty is welcomed and reciprocated. These are restrictions on your freedom. They're structures that support your well-being, allowing your fire to burn sustainable and strong, honoring both the archer and the arrow. In the Sagittarius symbol, there's both the archer and the arrow. You perhaps focus so much on being the arrow, always moving, always aiming for the next target, that you've forgotten you're also the archer. You're the one who can pause, adjust your aim, choose your target wisely, and sometimes decide not to shoot at all. Emotional balance comes from remembering you have agency not just in where you go, but in how you arrive there, who you become along the way, and whether you're truly ready for what you're reaching toward. Let me offer you some gentle practices, not as prescriptions, but as invitations to experiment with. The emotional inventory. Once a day, take just 2 minutes to check in. What am I actually feeling right now? Name it simply. Sad, anxious, excited, overwhelmed, peaceful, confused. You don't have to do anything with these feelings. Just practice noticing and naming them. Over time, this simple practice builds emotional literacy and helps you catch patterns before they become crises. The grounding breath. When you feel yourself wanting to escape, whether into activity, philosophy, or literal travel, try this. Place both feet flat on the ground. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Say to yourself, I am here. I am safe. I can feel this. This isn't about forcing yourself to stay in discomfort. It's about giving yourself the option of presence before choosing to move. The completion practice. Choose one thing, a conversation, a project, an emotional process, and commit to seeing it through before starting something new. Notice what comes up as you practice staying. What are you afraid will happen if you don't keep moving? What might you discover if you do? The joy without justification. Allow yourself to experience simple pleasures without needing them to be extraordinary. A warm cup of tea. Sunlight on your face, a moment of quiet. Your joy doesn't always have to come from grand adventures or profound insights. Sometimes it can just be easy, the permission to not know. Practice saying, I don't know, without immediately trying to figure it out. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know what I want. I don't know what comes next. Let yourself rest in uncertainty, even briefly, without making it a problem to solve. As you move toward greater emotional equilibrium, you might notice some shifts. You're still passionate, still curious, still seeking, but there's a groundedness beneath it now. You can get excited about possibilities without becoming destabilized by them. You can entertain new ideas without abandoning your center. You find that you can be present in difficult conversations without feeling trapped. You can feel sadness without it feeling like the end of the world. You can admit uncertainty without losing your confidence. Your optimism becomes more authentic because it's not denying what's real. It's acknowledging what's difficult and still choosing to believe in possibility. This is a much deeper, more sustainable hope than toxic positivity could ever offer. You notice you're less reactive, less restless, less driven by unnamed urgency. You can sit with yourself without immediately needing to improve or fix or transcend. You're learning that being human isn't a problem to solve. And perhaps most importantly, You're discovering that emotional depth doesn't diminish your freedom. It enriches it. That vulnerability isn't weakness. It's courage. That staying isn't settling. It's sometimes the most adventurous choice of all. Beautiful soul, wherever you are in your journey right now, please hear this. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfectly balanced all the time. You don't have to transcend your humanity to be worthy of love and belonging. The fact that you're here, seeking understanding, wanting to grow, this itself is enough. This itself is beautiful. Your fire is a gift. Your seeking is sacred. Your optimism has carried you through things that might have broken others. Honor these parts of yourself even as you're learning to also honor your depth, your complexity, your very human need for emotional safety and connection. There's no finish line here. No point at which you'll have achieved perfect emotional balance and never struggle again. This is ongoing. This is practice. This is the work of being alive and aware. And you're doing it, even when it's messy, even when you backslide, even when you want to run. You're here, you're trying, you're growing. That matters more than you know. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not doing it wrong. You're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you're meant to become. Not because it's destined, but because you're choosing it. You're showing up for it. You're brave enough to feel it. As we close, I want to leave you with a gentle intention you can carry with you. I honor both my fire and my need for peace. I can be expansive and grounded. I can seek truth while accepting uncertainty. I can be strong enough to be vulnerable. I give myself permission to feel fully, to process slowly, to be human completely. Take what resonates from this message and leave the rest. Trust your own inner knowing above anything I or anyone else might say. You know yourself better than any external guidance ever could. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for being willing to explore your depths even when your nature is to reach for the heights. You're not alone in this. You're supported, you're seen, and you're so much more capable than you give yourself credit for. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Be honest with yourself. And remember, emotional balance isn't about becoming someone different. It's about becoming more fully, authentically, courageously yourself, with love and deep respect for your journey. Safe travels, beautiful soul.